It's 2026, the end of July. Boy, are we in for a surprise. Surprise! We are live here at Akaku's KAKU Radio, 88.5 FM. We're simulcast on Akaku Maui Community Media. And, of course, everything can be found at MauiNeutralZone.com, where I have over 600 shows. Every show has a transcript and a summary, so when we have someone on, everything they say is part of the record. So I'm sort of like the voice of Maui around Jason for 30 years. So we can see how things have changed and grown. When I first came to Maui, I just looked it up yesterday. I have present Mayor Rick Bissen. Thank you for coming.
Hello, Jason.
It's
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. When I started doing these interviews, I was candidate way back 92, 94, 96, and I was not really thinking that I could be doing any good as a candidate. I could do better by talking to candidates and see what they're on. And I started doing values. And over the years, I've done lots of shows and ran a few times and see, in Kaului I came 7th out of 7 in the primary. I said, okay, that's that. No one's really looking and listening. But I stuck with it, and now in this age of AI, new things are coming to light, and we'll talk about it another time. I have no doubt that all of you want to say, hello, Mayor Rick Bissen. Thank you for the job that you've done over the last almost 4 years right now.
Thank you. Yeah, about 3.5.
And I bet you're in the middle of all kinds of stuff that if I let you start, you could say, here's what I've been doing. And so every so often I'll jump in. But I want to give you a place to kind of update it.
Sure.
Being a mayor, you came in and then suddenly the world exploded in ways that no one could have expected. And
sure.
You've had more to address than most.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to give you an
about 7 months in is when August 8th hit for sure.
Oh,
and we're coming
fire.
up. And we're coming up on August 8th very shortly.
Yeah, the day of the next election. But I remember that there was also a flood. So you've had, it's like the Bible opened up and said, let's do Maui, let's do fire, let's do flood. What's next? I'm afraid the roaches, we got a few roaches here. They're hard to get rid of. If I were to say, what are you proud of? You've been working here for 4 years, and I'm sure you have a vision of what you've been trying to do and where you are. Hit me.
Yeah, I would say the most proudest thing I am is of our community, the resilience of our community, the generosity, the strength. They really do put the unity in community. Those folks that have come together through our tough times, we know we can count on our community. They've demonstrated that. Those who have suffered, those who have helped, those who have suffered, those who continue to help, both from within our community and even the larger community, our state, our nation, our world. So many people have come to assist us, whether it's in financial assistance, offered their time and effort and labor, their expertise. There's been so much that has descended onto Maui from around the world that I'm so grateful for, and allows us to be positioned where we are now. More specifically, since we're on the verge of opening our brand new emergency operating center, I'm also very proud of the work that our Maui Emergency Management Agency has done. We were a different agency in 2023 than we are today. You wouldn't recognize us, actually, starting with 9 members in 2023 to now having 25.
Wow.
Having a brand new space. And I do want to give a shout out to the previous administration. Mike Victorino's team purchased the building, the old Hawaiian Tel building, in 2020. And we have now turned that into a world-class emergency operating center. Almost 10,000 square feet, much larger than our current space. Again, accommodating a full-time staff of 25, soon to be 31. Instead of 3 screens on the wall, we have 27 screens on the wall. We have so much more situational awareness. We have so much technological advances that have happened. We have cameras that belong to us. We have cameras that belong to Hawaiian Electric that we can also tap into. I say that because these are located in remote areas that can detect, through AI, can detect smoke. So before any human eyes get on them, we can be alerted. So we can alert our community much sooner. There's so much more advances, Genesis Protect, an alert, evacuation alert system, MEMA alerts. I just got here from a briefing that we had at 10 a.m. About Hurricane Fausto, and right behind Hurricane Fausto, Hurricane Genevieve that's on its way. So, getting briefings, just a preparedness to try to get ahead of it. So proud of our community and so proud of the advancements that have been made in our emergency management. We went through 2 presidential declarations during my term as mayor. We had a presidential declaration from Presidential Biden in 23, and President Trump also declared a disaster and emergency through the Kona low storms 1 and 2. And so it's rare for a community. I can't think of us ever having a presidential declaration in the history of our county, and we get 2 in 3 years. And we were very prepared to on how to request federal funds. The importance of having a presidential declaration is it opens up federal funding to our county. If not, you got to go it alone with state funds or county funds. And you have to hit a certain threshold. And when that happens, you're allowed to apply for grants and funds. And so that's helped us try to address what we lost in both of those disasters.
Yeah, well, that is something to be proud of.
Again, not for me personally, just proud of the team that we've assembled.
In the last couple of years. So when you came in, I imagine every mayor that comes in has a general agenda. It's like, okay, I've got to keep this place running and be more efficient all the time.
Yeah.
And you try to have but now I keep my ears into the media, but I also know that when I think of a mayor, you've got to run a lot of people doing a lot of services to keep Maui going.
Yeah.
I'm sort of on the other end in the brain that I'm looking over the horizon a lot. And I've always found that to be a weakness in our government system. They have, like when I know there's a grant in economic development, they're often giving grants and doing things, but they're not looking at the longer future. And I've been doing that a long time. So I hope I don't want to take all this time, but I have an opportunity to share with you some of the things. When Pundy and the MAC opened, the first New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, I had booked it to showcase art, that we were going to do art and music and environmental solutions, and we were going to work on. And then I got bumped by that first night that was an alcohol-free event. When I went to see the general manager of the Westin, he said to me, I don't know what scam you're trying to pull here, but there was someone in here last week that said the mayor authorized them. So, needless to say, I have been a long time on this path to show a plan to a mayor who is going to be listening. And over the years, I've done these shows to show a lot of pieces. So, when you look at stuff I'm doing, you're going to see a holistic model of a way to give preference to local people through different kinds of programs that can be kept local by the nature of what they are. So that'll be fun. But now I came here to really say, okay, what's happening with water? What's happening with the sewer? You know that we have another flood in Kihei. We know that spot on Kihei Road. Every single time it rains big, the spot near Suda, it's not Suda's store anymore. I don't know what it is now.
ABC, Ululani's.
Yeah. That's right, and ABC even closed.
They have.
There's problems on these Kihei roads.
Sure.
Is that in process? The one that's south of Fred's and
right.
Is that one getting open soon? What are we thinking?
So let me back up a sec, because you started with a different question.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned the MAC. So if I can. So what I'm proud of is we've stuck to the same priorities we did in 2022, which is Kama'aina housing, Kama'aina prosperity. So our economic wellness and, of course, our housing. Housing shortages isn't a new issue. It's never been. It's been around for a long time. I think problem solving and trying to address that is really what people want to know. There's this old saying, you don't give credit to the person who predicts the flood. You give credit to the person who builds the ark. So standing there and saying no housing is one thing. And so, of course, there's things we've done that we've already started to do. For example, building on county-owned land, having the county help put in the infrastructure or at least fund some of this infrastructure. I'll give you an example. Department of Hawaiian Homelands that has been putting up lots of home sites here on Maui and across the state. And we are the only county that dedicates 20% of our GET tax to DHHL infrastructure. Now, the reason that's significant is many people on Maui, especially if they qualify for Department of Hawaiian Homelands, are on two wait lists. The wait list to get on Hawaiian homes and the wait list to get on any housing on Maui. When we can place people onto Hawaiian home lots, that takes them off of that other wait list, which advances anyone else in that list. So first of all, and that was passed by the county council as submitted by Tasha Kama back then. And so we're in agreement with that. And that is, again, helping us to get people into homes. We are, even whether they're leasehold, whether they're rent to own, different types of housing. We are utilizing county-owned lands in Napili, on Lanai, and other places where we can absorb that cost so that the cost of the home goes into the build itself.
Let me ask quickly in that
yes.
one. The housing for local people is one thing. I know the question of paying for all the infrastructure for some of these upper-end luxury developers who just want to sort of shove it at the county. How does that go? I mean,
I'm not aware of us paying for those unless they're receiving LIHTC or if they're receiving certain types of affordable housing credits. So there are some programs that are offered out there for sure. I don't know about luxury homes, as you just said.
I'm only mentioning
receiving
that
those funds.
Well, that there was a recent thing. I'm sure we all know that Blue Rock section between Maui Meadows and Wailea is an expensive deal to try to widen because they need to use dynamite. It's going to impact all the foundations throughout Maui. It's a major deal.
Sure.
And that's been an issue, and you hear it come up in politics all the time.
Yes.
And that's why I was asking. I know the other question I get asked a lot that I should ask you is, way back when they put a couple $100,000 away and said, we're going to create a safe spot for people to park, because the people that are houseless have not only the problem of being houseless, but there is a major crime thing that I'm sure you know about, where people that are out there in their cars have people coming up to them and robbing them and all kinds. So it creates massive things. So a safe zone.
Yeah.
Where's that standing?
Yeah, that's a fair question. We obviously deal with those challenges as well at the administration. Finding that location and we felt like we had narrowed it down to a particular location. There have been a couple places that have been offered even before I became mayor. For example, at the Cameron Center was a place that was put out there and looked like it was going in that direction. And for whatever reasons, that proved not to be a good location. We have others that we've looked at in central Maui, in particular in Kahului area. That was being explored. We put it out to bid. We had a winning bid. It was met with some challenges. I feel like we're in the process of having a location that is on county-owned land that we think we might be able to explore. We have opportunities for privately owned lands that would be made available. I'm not ready to announce any of those details right now because they are still under negotiation. There are insurance challenges. It's an absolute priority. Okay. We've been trying to get this done. As you can tell, it's not very easy, or else it would have been done by now. Right. So there's any location you pick will have a challenge. For us, we have to make sure it's a suitable place We have to deal with the legal challenges, any liability issues, any insurance issues that could arise from that. And, some of those issues are easier to deal with than others, the challenges. But I can say we have a team on it, fully committed, and I hope to be able to announce something very, very soon.
Okay. I hope that's of some satisfaction to some of you out there. Over time, I've known more and more houseless people that are working and people that just can't seem to get stepped up. As we improve our laws and we say, okay, we don't want any of these illegal rentals. A lot of the illegal rentals was the way some of the lower income people were surviving on Maui. So it's a tough, big step up. So I hope we're going to find...
Yeah, I don't know what examples you're talking to about illegal rentals, or if you're talking about short-term rentals.
When I first moved here, I lived in a place, it might have been legal, but I had rented a room, and I shared a bathroom and a shower. Actually, the way to the next unit was through the shower. We all shared the shower. So I don't know how different rental...
Was that a long-term rental?
Yeah, it was long-term rental.
Yeah, I don't know how that's illegal, to have a long-term rental sharing a bathroom or...
So people can have people in their houses. Now we have the new bill that says that if you're the certain size property in residential, you can build another unit. Have
Absolutely. Yeah, the council approved that.
Awesome.
Well, there's also funding available for that program as well. So if you meet the criteria, you can have certain sizes of accessory dwelling units. But again, those aren't illegal to rent out your accessory dwelling unit or your cottage.
Way back when I first came to here in '88, I saw a lot of people that were living in places you'd wonder if that was a legal rental.
I see.
There were just lots of things that were lower cost, is all I'm saying.
But what I'm trying to say to you is there's nothing that we've put forth to change those circumstances. Now, they may have been illegal to begin with, but we didn't all of a sudden make them illegal.
No.
The issues we've discussed have been short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are very, very different than long-term rentals for residents. We want to encourage long-term rentals.
Yeah.
I mean, we want it to be a safe place that meets the Department of Health standards, that meet, safety standards. Obviously, if you're saying somebody's renting a closet that
I've
doesn't
been here
have...
since '88, and so I've just been, over that time,
Sure.
I've seen a lot of places that people were renting that they were renting it because they couldn't afford more. And a lot of jobs that were not high paying, but it was a much more casual life. And as things get improved to make the quality of everything better, some of these things are falling away. So there were a lot of years, I remember them talking about building housing, and they push it back another 2 years, and they push it back because it wasn't as desperate. And
we've had a 190% increase in affordable housing since I've been mayor in the last 3.5 years. And we're planning on another 5,000 workforce affordable housing within the next 4 to 5 years. So, and that's all statistically borne out, and folks can, of course, look at those numbers, look at those statistics, and see for themselves.
And that's only a good thing.
Yes.
I imagine when you came up, I want to say, you didn't really come up through the ranks. You earned yourself, you were a deputy prosecutor, then prosecutor, then you've really been on a rise. And I came upon you one time when I was I didn't realize till after, it was a high-profile case that was long ago, and it was my only jury experience my whole life. But you were the judge, and I really got to appreciate the way you handled it then. And I appreciate that now as mayor. A lot of your experience is very helpful to be able to know which things are going to be important priorities and how to avoid things.
Well, if I can comment on that,
Sure.
I think that is coming up through the ranks. I started off as a volunteer in 1984 at the prosecutor's office for the summer. I was in my first year of law school.
Oh.
So I was a complete volunteer, which is why I encourage people to volunteer with county departments, because who knows, it could lead to you being mayor one day. I started off as a volunteer for the entire summer, learned a lot. I wanted to see if that was the kind of work I did want to go into, because I felt like I did. And it only confirmed my sense. So in 1987, I became a deputy prosecutor with the Maui County. And I thought I'd do that for the rest of my career, and things happened where I ended up becoming the county prosecutor under two different mayors, two different times. First Mayor Lingo, then Mayor Apana. And then when she became Governor Lingo, I transferred over to Honolulu to become the first Deputy Attorney General for the state of Hawaii, which Governor appointed me to. And then I became the Director of Public Safety, which are the prisons and the sheriffs. And I did that for about 6 or 7 months before she appointed me to the new circuit court position on Maui. They added a fourth judge position, and I was fortunate to be nominated and selected by the Senate to step in that role, and I did that for about 17 years. And again, when my career ended there, I decided to run for mayor in 2022, and I was fortunate that the public placed their trust in me. In 23 is when I started. But I feel like I did work my way up from a volunteer with a county department to now being the administrator, CEO of all the county departments. We had much less people back in 1984 than we do now. The size of our county workforce is about 2,700 people, with several openings and jobs available. And I want to encourage your listeners to apply for the county. We give free medical for every county worker who comes and works for us as well. That experience, though, what it's taught me and what it's done for me is, I've been a protector of our community since 1984. And since being a deputy in 1987, a sworn deputy attorney, a prosecuting attorney, and throughout my career as a AG, public safety, it says it in its name, and being a judge, it's always been my career goal to live in a safe place, make it safe for my family, for my neighbors, my friends, everybody who calls Maui home, whether you're born here or not. I've always felt that my responsibility to protect this place. And I didn't realize as becoming mayor how much that would come to be. Because of what's happened to us, I understand that even more than I ever did, that public safety is our number one charge as elected officials. When you said I did not come up the way most people become elected as mayor, you're right. I didn't come through the council, or I didn't come through another office. I put myself into that, and people selected me. And of course, we're dealing with that now, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have been in the seat and to work and put a team together that I think is doing very, very well. And it'd be great to continue that.
Like I said, I'm always been impressed at the fact of your being very personable. And, when I think of a judge, I think of someone who's, I want to say contained, but
I've been called aloof for sure.
You have?
Well, I wasn't intending to give that off, but I think what I've learned over my career is to listen carefully to all sides. It's not just both sides, because sometimes there's multiple sides. To listen carefully, especially to very complex issues, and then to make the best decision that can be made as far as what I'm capable of making. And then to stand by that decision. The hardest thing of any decision maker is not the actual decision. It's living with the decision. It's being able to justify the decision. It's being able to say why you've decided A instead of B. And understanding why and being good with it and explaining it and understanding, the goal of try to help as many as you can for as long as you can. And doing your best to make sure it benefits the majority of the people that you're trying to help, because you're the mayor of everyone that lives in your county. But understanding, just like in the courtroom, just like as the prosecutor, you're not in the people-pleasing business. You're not able to please everyone who's there. But you have to make the best decision that you think is a safe one. The other thing you were leading to earlier is the type of decisions that we make. Instead of 2 and 4 year cycles, which is how many people who run for office think, I think of 2 and 4 generations.
Good.
Making a decision today that's going to have long-term impact, whether it's water, whether it's short-term rentals, or whether it's any other type of issue, emergency management. What decision can you make today that will benefit everyone going down the line? Or as many as you can. So planting the tree today whose shade you will never experience, but understanding today is the day to plant it so that someone else will. And not just trying to do something that'll give you a quick result, but you can say, oh, look what I just did. That's not traditional thinking, I think, in the world of politics. But I think it's necessary because in our limited time in public service and public office is to make the best impact you can make, whether it's right now, and some of that is right now, like emergency, dealing with emergencies that happen, fires and floods, but it's also long-term, like housing and water. And I know this is important, and I know it's true because many other people are repeating those exact same concepts, which is what we ran on in 2022, and we're continuing to reach for and to promote today, because that is important. But it's not something that just happened. It's something that has been happening. And how can you impact change, and how can you make change that is positive change in the best way, knowing that not everyone will agree.
And knowing that after you leave this office, whenever, others will have to continue it on and carry a policy that's got to be for the public good. So,
well, that's what you hope for.
Yeah.
It'll benefit your generations to come. And again, I don't think that's typical a way of thinking. You were kind of alluding to this in an earlier question that you had mentioned, but that's because it's long-term benefit, generational. For example, controlling water, or having the county take care of that public trust, so that it will always be in the hands of the community.
So when you see, here's a funny question, I think. Let's say Department X, I'm purposely not picking a specific thing. Department X has some issue, and you can see that there was something wrong that happened there. Do you try to give your managers and department heads free rein to do it? I mean, I don't know how one deals with the department head who has all their people.
Right.
Do you find that you get involved with a lot of departments directly, or that's what your meetings are about? They come to you if they have an issue?
So it depends. The issue can come to me in many ways. The public can raise it. Of course, the director can anticipate it. But the structure that's set up, I want to say we have 21, 22 departments in the county. The managing director, who is Josiah Nishita, his job is what it sounds like. He manages all the directors in the departments. I have a team that I deal with called a senior executive team. But of course, I deal directly with department heads as well. Not every department head is appointed by me. There are several that are appointed by commissions, whether it's fire, liquor, police, personnel, East Maui Water Authority as an example. Those are appointed by those commissions. And then all the others are appointed by me and approved by the county council, the director and the deputies. In these cases, those are subject matter experts. So for example, an engineer who runs public works, or an engineer who runs water, or an engineer who runs environmental management. I am not an engineer. I come with a law background, but I don't run the prosecutor's office, and I don't run corporation counsel. That's just my background. Anybody who becomes mayor has some sort of background, whether it's in insurance, whether it's with a county's department. So in my situation, I recognize that when I come in, that I have subject matter experts. And so if they give me advice, I might question it so that they can convince me that it's correct.
Right.
But I don't automatically say, well, I thought about it, it should be X. I want to hear why they're telling me that. And I guess I feel like I'm comfortable with that function, listening to why and then agreeing or disagreeing. But yes, I can disagree with my directors. And a good example is Kulani Hako'i High School in Kihei. They had an issue with a requirement from the LUC. And of course, that's a state building. And they were seeking a certificate of occupancy in early months of 2023 of my term. And so obviously I have a planning director who can decide to sign off or not. And at that particular time, the planning director was not comfortable signing off and allowing occupancy when the LUC had put a condition on the opening.
LUC was just
Land Use Commission.
There you go.
It's a statewide, entity that had put a condition on the opening of the school.
The overpass.
The overpass on Piilani Highway.
Yeah.
Which is close to a mile away from the actual school, but one of the pathways you could get to school. So we sat, discussed. So I overrode and I decided to open the school. And it was a little ironic when it's a state school with a state board that was preventing it from opening on our county, in our county, with our county teachers, our county students, our county parents, and we're the ones that would have either benefited or suffered if that had stayed closed.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the early challenges as a new mayor. But I thought about it, I weighed it, and so what I decided to do for safety is I said, okay, we will not allow anyone to cross, any students to cross that highway while this issue is in controversy. The Land Use Commission could meet again and they could eliminate that condition, they could, require it. And they talked about both an underpass and an overpass. But my thinking was, are we gonna wait? It was a $14 million project. It could have taken years. You had a brand new school that was just gonna sit there. Everything not used. And I also believe it had an added benefit of being an emergency shelter because it was Mauka, even of Kihei Community Center, and it was built in a way that it was hardened in some portions where the library, the cafeteria area was. I was given a tour of the place early on. We believed it was going to open, and then we hit the snag. I'm trying to answer your question that it was a situation where I had to make a call that was different from my director's call. And so all I did was step in and says, okay, well, I'll approve it. So it doesn't fall on you. If there's any liability, it will come to the administration. The school remains open. We just celebrated its first graduation in June. That's fantastic. May or June. And the first graduating class, the parents were satisfied and happy. We eliminated the safety issue and said you could only drop your children off at school. There may be housing that comes up on that side of the highway eventually, on which there'll already be Mauka. So just giving it some thought and trying to achieve the goal, which was safety for the students, but also education, alleviating some of the population of Kihei that was having to go to schools outside of South Maui. Yeah. Of course, there are grade schools, there intermediate schools that are feeder schools that can go right into this. So there's Kihei Charter School out there. They cross Piilani Highway at Lipoa. They cross there twice a day, in the mornings and in the afternoons, without an overpass. And so there's several other points that can be discussed, and I've heard them. But I'm answering your question about have I ever overrode? Yeah.
Well, not as much as overrode. There's the outside in the Pili. There's a house that, as they're building, everyone is saying, hey, this thing is like a gigantic thing. It's like a hotel. Will someone stop this? And you hear all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if you get involved with the director in those kind of situations, or you pretty well.
I believe that was built before I became mayor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You end up inheriting what happened before,
sure,
no matter you want it or not. So a lot of times you get blamed because you're there when it's done, when it wasn't started. How do you let those kind of issues happen in the departments until they have an issue come up, or you try to?
Oh no! I don't let anything happen. Things do happen, whether you know about it or you don't know about it, or whether it was anticipated or not. No, I think when we see on the horizon challenges that are going to come in, of course the goal is to communicate that and to say, hey, I think this might, run into an issue. Let's see if we can get ahead of it.
Yeah.
Try to address it mostly. Now, again, it's really difficult to please the entire group, whoever is dealing with that particular issue, because there are many, many issues that Maui faces. Our goal is to try to get on the right side of those issues. But I think the job of the mayor is to make those tough calls, even the ones that people will definitely disagree with, because they're divisive, and people have strong opinions on either side. And whatever those are, you gotta. I feel like you gotta listen to all sides and make what you think is the best decision for the overall safety of the community.
And that's where your past experience, I'm sure, is very helpful in being able to make decisions and having to be okay with that. That's a very important
for sure.
thing.
I'm dealt with a lot of complex issues that have come up. Obviously, that's part of being the mayor. You get complex issues. You get people passionate on, like I said, both sides, 3 sides, 4 sides, whatever it is, and you take all that information in, and then you say, okay, which one's going to benefit the most, help the most, hurt the least? And again, like I said, help as many people as you can for as long as you can. I think that's our job.
When we don't have money, I always think, I'd like to be mayor so I'd have a Rolodex to be able to call anyone in the world. It's a different role. Do you find you speak to, I'm always wondering, some of the more wealthy people that are part of our community, I always wonder if they could be encouraged to step up with some of their...
Give me some names and I'll tell you if I've ever spoken to them.
Okay, Jeff Bezos.
I met him once in Washington, D.C., and got to say hi.
Okay.
I've never met him on Maui.
Right.
He was very generous with his time, with his comments. He did make a major donation to the county when he first moved here, and made a pledge after the wildfires.
I've seen he gave stock to the Catholic charities. He's
opened up a school at the Kaiaulu, or was it Kupuohi, or it's across the street from them. Anyway, he opened up a Bezos Academy school there where he pays for the tuition, pays for the teachers' salaries, pays for the resources. So there's a Bezos Academy in Lahaina because of him. And I'm so bad that I'm forgetting the name of this. Anyway.
It's okay.
A 200 unit across from Kupuohi. I'll remember it by the end of this conversation.
But so I'm just thinking about some of the deep pocket individuals in our community that own a Palantir. You hear it all the time around that there are very wealthy people here who could be generously helping, and some of them, like you say, have in different ways.
Yeah, he has for sure. Oprah Winfrey, who I've never met with her, but she also helped with the One People's Fund. Along with, she had Jason Momoa, she had Dwayne Johnson, and several other folks that donated money to help
and the people that
victims.
were doing stuff in the West Side told me she also helped to get communication equipment there early on, and has done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. They don't help because they're looking for notoriety or anything like that. There are some very, very generous people that have helped along the way. Many Maui citizens, of course, as well. But as far as you mentioning people who live on Maui that have wealth, I think they've all tried to help in their own way. But many of them I've not met with or
I just wonder, as the mayor, whether you ever have occasion to reach out, for example, without touching their money, if all the money were put in a trust that could be able to do different kinds of things. So, like I say, I'm one of those guys who's thinking way past now about how we can change the course of mighty rivers.
Well, I'll say this. I think in our community, we have those who can do more. And I think any of us who can do more should do more.
Yep.
And I think, obviously, we should try to help those that are less fortunate or have less opportunity. And I think, generally speaking, Maui folks do that. There are lots of generous Maui people, regular, everyday people who are doing a little better than others, people doing much better than others, who I think, generally speaking, step up to the plate without any fanfare, without trying to get any credit. And I know many of those people. I do. I've seen them, donate to nonprofits, to events, support sporting teams, supporting, like I said, nonprofits, support community events. Lots of people who come out as whatever they'll call them, platinum sponsors, diamond sponsors, gold sponsors. I mean, they have all different levels, but you see a lot of them, and you'll see a lot of the same ones. And when you go to a fundraising dinner, you'll hear a lot of the same names, the generous folks who do everything they can to help our community.
Film industry. I mean, I'm sure that's a state kind of an issue.
Maui too. We just had the Wailuku Film Festival, the first of its kind. It was very, very successful. I know our team, the folks at the Maui Film Office, had no idea how it was going to be received. I think the biggest difference between this film festival and others that we've had on Maui and even other state festivals was having local directors, local producers, local filmmakers telling local stories through a local voice. And what I mean by that is people who are from Hawaii, from Maui, telling a story about whatever short film that they put together. And there were really, really some beautiful ones. And I had a chance to be at the festival for a couple of days. Again, just the energy, the interest, what it sparked. So for sure, that was the first annual, so there'll be more. But Wailuku Film Festival, I thought, was a huge hit. I know Senator Lindy Coit put in a bill to assist the film industry statewide. I think there's a sunset clause on it, I want to say for 10 years, where they take a look at it and see how it benefited. Basically giving some tax credits to folks who, come to Hawaii and make it more conducive for people to film. Yeah. And I think that's well received. Again, we can showcase local talent, obviously create jobs. Workforce development is always part of any industry. And I think for the film industry in particular, that was a big boost, showed a lot of potential, exposed a lot of talent that's here on Maui. And I think it's going to continue to grow.
Any other industries, you have interesting departments. The one that I'm missing is, I guess it's on the county council, the one that was looking at environment and climate change that's no longer there. And we keep seeing major events. I hope somehow things will get, I don't know what they call it. Some more focus is put on some longer solutions that I'm hoping.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean that was taken out. Maybe the name was
taken out,
it transferred over to. First of all, it transferred over to the Department of Environmental Management, which has a group that does oversee our environmental protection, the EP&E division. Which absorbed some of what was previously referred to. Also, we have the Department of OEV Resources, which was not around before, and they obviously take a big focus on any cultural resources. So that can come in many forms, including natural resources. And so they also have a voice in how we steward our resources going forward. And that was not in existence before. So that's obviously a new department. And so, I would say we are focusing on that. Our emergency management agency that recently cleaned up the Ukumehame area, there's about 40 acres, removing cars and boats and tires and vehicles and you name it, electric batteries for cars, and restoring wetlands. I mean, that's environmental management at its highest, most direct level, and they don't fall under the mayor's office environmental program. They're a separate agency, but their task is to, first of all, it's to look at all of our county-owned lands, of which there are over 900, and prioritize them to make them safe, but also to restore native plants and forests. And in Ukumehami, you'll see a return of a wetland area in that place. And so I would say there are multiple departments who look at this issue, not just any one person, one agency. We have the Department of Agriculture, right? Kula Ag Park. They're charged with caring for our natural resources. Those that try to manage or eliminate invasive species, like the coconut rhinoceros beetle, before they can get a foothold here. That comes under our Department of Ag. So I think we have, and that's a relatively new department as well. So while there may not be one entity that used to be in the mayor's office, it's spread out, 4 departments?
But you're still aware of it and it's high on your priorities.
It's already, yes, but it goes across multiple departments.
Sure.
And I just mentioned 4 or 5 of them. And so, again, not to disagree, just to say it's spread out, and there are lots of eyes on it.
Here's it's interesting to me, what you're doing. How do you get what you're doing out to the public, and how do we have?
I come on your radio show.
Well, I'm saying that's a pleasure, but there are very few outlets. That's why I'm mentioning it, and they don't. So that's another thing. It's almost like you need a constant PR thing to. Maybe not only you, the whole county, to others to know what we're doing so we can coordinate better.
So we have a brand new website, or I should say, I don't know all the correct words, web page that people can go to. It's relatively new. It's less than a year old. It's more user-friendly. If people want information, it's available on our county website. But in particular, for example, the Office of Recovery, MauiRecovers.org, can give you in real time the latest number on permits that have been applied for, permits that have been issued, permits that are completed, homes that are completed. I know early on when we were doing repairs to sewer and water lines, it would show green for all the water lines that have been repaired. It would show yellow or red for those that weren't. And people would look and they'd see, oh, it's green, my neighborhood is green, I can apply for my building permit.
So you guys now hear that, Maui Recovers.
.org.
.org.
Yeah, that has the latest real-time information. Great. We have lots of information. Obviously, people would have to go and find it on their own, or they watch the internet, or they read the Maui news. I'm not sure how else people get information today, but those are the ways.
And I'm glad that we're doing this kind of a show.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's pretty tough to get close to candidates and close to mayor, council. I'm at the recent Kapuna thing. I spoke to some of the people that are on council. It's nice to hear that they're willing to come and talk with me. Oftentimes in the past, people are thinking that I don't know if media is there to cut them up and undercut them. That's not my plan. My vision is, how can we take all these good ideas that come from all these people that are running? They're running because they have something that they want to contribute. So I'd like to see, after the elections, we cull through all that and see what we can do about making things a little bit better from all these voices.
Sure. Yeah.
When you go about being mayor, do you have any visions past here, or are you pretty well just totally here? Like when I saw the thing, it said, the former mayors, Charmaine and Linda Lingle and Alan Arakawa, and I thought, well, where's Chemo?
Chemo is with state elections, so he's not able to take a position. He's in he works, I think he's on a board or the elections board or elections commission, so he's not able to weigh in. He's got a conflict of interest.
I see. That's why I didn't hear him.
Sure.
And when you go about, I mean, we're in election year.
Yes.
But when you're in the office, I can't imagine you can do anything other than continue to do the job you're doing and have that express who and what you are. Campaign gets a little, I want to say, people bring up things and are trying to bring up dirt. I mean, I can imagine you're so busy taking care of everything. A lot of that just goes past you, hopefully, and it doesn't stop what you're doing as mayor. Do you find it can get in the way? Or?
I trust the voters. I trust the voters that they can see through things that are either made up or things that are intended purely to impact the outcome of any election, not just the race I'm in, but anybody's. Right. So I think people are smart enough to question either the timing of things, the nature of things, who's behind things. I think the most important thing that an elected official can do is to do their job.
Serve. Right.
I mean, that's what people put you in there for. And, you try to make the best decisions you can. People need to know, to be able to see you that you're genuinely trying to do what's best, even if they disagree with you. I think it's important that people know where you stand. I think it's important that people know you're authentic, that you're genuine. There are a lot of fakes and frauds and pretenders out there. I'll just say that. People usually can tell who's who. That's my belief. I always believed that as a deputy prosecutor presenting a case to a jury. I always believed in the truth of the case and believed in the power of the jury to see through whatever it was. Of course, you help them by pointing it out, but people are pretty amazing. I'm always pleasantly surprised to hear from them later when you run into them about what they thought and how they felt, whether I was the deputy prosecutor or whether I was the sitting judge. Because I sat on over 170 jury trials in my career as a judge, and I presented many, many cases to juries as a deputy prosecutor. So I got to just deal with folks who work in construction, they work at the hotels, just regular people. And I wanted them to know that I'm just a regular person too. Raised on Maui like them, went to school, worked my way up. I wasn't handed anything. You gotta work for it. I'm very proud on the career I had, right? I mean, being a attorney of the year, being judge of the year, being alumnus of the year, all the different things that come with putting the work in and earning the the right to represent them, and whether you're representing them as the prosecutor or as a judge. Again, my career has been such that I've always seen myself as a protector. I didn't know that initially, that's what I wanted, but I saw sort of a theme moving through, and this is probably the most important job, that you protect people from scammers, from fraud, from being taken advantage of. There's a lot of power in this position to be able to influence and help people, and that's obviously what we want to continue to do. But I think what's important over the last few years, just as Maui as a whole, and in Lahaina and Kula in particular, and I heard this phrase from my managing director, so I'm stealing it from him, but first we heal the land, then we heal our people, then we heal our community. And I think that's exactly the way to look at it, is being in a position to do those things is what will make us a stronger, more resilient community.
We only have a few minutes left, and that's amazing. We've been talking here an hour. I hope this has just been a relaxing, pleasant time. I don't want to miss anything that are important to you that you want to share.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically that...
Sure. Yeah, I think we're on a path of having more housing built, right? Lots of homes already built in Lahaina. Commercial is next. A couple of places already approved. Whether it's Fleetwood's, Chemo's, Paia Fish Market, those places are going to be coming online. Several others, about a dozen, that are also waiting to be approved and in consultation. So we're excited. The Uluolele Marketplace that was announced by the Hawaiian Council, they'll be up and running in September, providing 17 vendor areas, locations, as well as 8 food trucks. So that's going to be exciting. Again, bringing economic activity. The homecoming in Lahaina was a huge success, as you could see by those who were in attendance. So lots of excitement about coming up on that end. But again, more affordable housing, workforce housing coming online. And we're just excited to be part of that motion, things in motion. I think that's what's important, is people see tangible progress that's happening, like I said, in Lahaina and throughout our community. and continue to move forward, right? Positive, be positive and move forward with our programs, our projects, and continue to, like I said, make it so that our people can stay home. Those who want to stay on Maui will have opportunity. And I think that's a big part of our message. It has been since 2022. It continues to be, maybe even more now, with some people who chose to leave. At that time, we want them to come back, which is why the homecoming. I think our community is going to be excited for the 99th annual county fair that's going to come up in October. I think people are excited to be around each other again. It was huge, the 98th, the parade leading up to that, and just the opening night was crazy good. And I felt that way on a smaller scale with the Lahaina homecoming. And so, energizing the community and giving people the hope, because I really think that's how we should measure how we're doing. Not so much in happiness, because that's fleeting, but measure success and how people feel hope for what's coming and what's about to come. Continuing to, again, improve the economy. You look at the visit industry, according to the, DBED, Maui had a 24% increase from a year ago to now. So our visit industry is also doing very well. So again, yes, that's all great.
I really thank you for being here with me today.
Thanks, Jason.
Really been a pleasure.
Mahalo to you.
You're always welcome as an open door. Anytime.
Thank you, sir.
And all of you out there, I hope that this was a valuable show to you and something you enjoyed and helps you on your road here in 2026. We are out of here.
Welcome to MauiCoastProperty.com. This visor is our latest innovation. It gives you a whole new view of the future. Experience it now.